Tony, you know where the real power is, as I said in the Divine Nine. And speaking of the president of this great university, this guy used to work for me. Tony worked for me when I was a senator. But then he left because he wanted to become a doctor, a PhD in public policy. But that wasn't good enough. Then he decided he wanted to be president. I got scared as hell he was going to run. But it turned out he wanted to be president of a university. By the way, Tony, I told you a true story. When I left the vice presidency after Bo died, I wasn't going to get involved in politics anymore. So I became a full professor at the University of Pennsylvania. But before that occurred, 3 universities came to me and said they wanted to interview me to consider my being a president of the university. My wife, who's a professor at a community college, she has 2 masters and a PhD, which she's smarter than me. And she looked at me, she said, "If you do that, I'm leaving you." She said, "It's one of the toughest jobs in America, especially if you start arguing about parking spaces and office windows." But Tony, thanks, buddy. You're a good friend, and I can't say enough good things about you. And a year ago, I signed an executive order establishing a presidential initiative to strengthen HBCUs all across America. And I appointed Tony to lead that initiative because he's the best. Tony, Keisha, Kamala, and I understand the critical role HBCUs provide for all folks in this country, particularly in building basically a ticket to the middle class. HBCUs are great value for all Americans. That's why during the pandemic, my administration did something that's never been done before. We invested $5.8 billion in HBCUs. Some suggested we couldn't get it done, but we got it done. And that money already is out the door being used very well. Tony and his team use a lot of that money combined with the money from the university raised to help students at Dell State with their debt, reducing the debt burden for 225 graduating seniors. That's 225 Delaware State University graduates who can start getting on with their lives without the burden of student debt holding them back. And that's what I want to talk about today. 8 weeks ago, I announced that my administration is going to provide $10,000 in debt relief to everyone, and then this who has that much debt, or up to that much debt, and $20,000 if you received a Pell Grant and your income was under $125,000. It's a plan for people who took out federal student loans before July of this year. And a few days ago, I launched an online application process where you can apply for that debt relief. So folks, one of the things I wanted to make sure is we didn't end up where we're in a position that Barack and I are in terms of the affordable. It was made a little bit more difficult, but we made sure we tested it. We tested it for a weekend to see how it worked, John. And guess what? It worked. Almost 9 million people signed on. Folks.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from BlazeTV with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.